All right, hi. So I'm Hannah Green, and this is my Theme Weaver newsletter presentation. Before going into the presentation, I just want to say that I'm not exactly sure how I should be presenting this, so I'm sorry if I ramble on and give you way too much information, but I'd rather give way too much information than not what I needed to do. So I'm just going to start with explaining my newsletter. So this is my newsletter. Ignore the week. I just made it the week of Halloween because I like Halloween. Um, but obviously from the food theme, you got that my theme for the unit that I made is cooking slash food slash baking slash food. So just food and fun times in the kitchen. And so with this unit, I decided to make it a writing unit, and it's going to be an informative slash explanatory writing unit where students are just going to learn how to just write about information and explain stuff. And I thought it'd be fun with food if we make a classroom cookbook and each student will pick a dish that they want to create or tell people how to make, and it'd be like a cute little how-to, but they'd also be writing so much more about their dish, which I'll get into later. But that's kind of like the synopsis of everything, is that we're all just going to make a cookbook. And so yes, going into my newsletter, first off, I made this in InDesign and I'm really proud of it. Okay, the newsletter up top, this tells the fourth grade parents or the fourth graders if they want to read it too, what's been going on in the classroom. And here on this first page is the disciplines that we've been using in this unit. And so obviously writing, because like I said, this is a writing unit, and so it's just kind of talking about like different ways. It's really short and it looks long, but it's like a short, like brief, well, what writing is going to look like. And then so when we have math, art, science, and geography, and again, I'll go over these like in more detail than I probably need to later on, but I'm just right now trying to show you the newsletter, what it looks like, and I fit everything on one page. So this is just the disciplines and what's going on for this first page of the newsletter. I had to make this into multiple pages because I really didn't know how to fit into one page. So if this is like real, I hope parents wouldn't like get upset if I sent them a bunch of pages. But anyway, next page is the unit overview, where I fit like all the, so this, again, I'll get into this later. So this unit is going to be 8 lessons long, but like over the span of like 2 weeks, I believe, if I did the math correct in my head. So again, I'll go over this in more detail later. And then so on this page is the unit overview and the vocabulary words they'll be learning throughout the week. So maybe if they get this newsletter home, the parents will see this and they'll be like, oh, we can study at home. We can make our own meals with these words. So fun. And then so the next couple pages after that are just the book list. And I only put the picture book. So I'm doing fourth grade. I said that in the thing. I didn't say it. But so with fourth grade, for right now, I just put the picture books that I'd be using in the classroom on here. It's not all the books I'm using. Again, I won't go into that later. But like, again, this was already a 4-page long newsletter, and I wanted to put summaries of the books because I believe that was said that I needed to put summaries of the books, and so that would just take, it would literally probably be 10-page long newsletter, and I don't think that's realistic, question mark, for a classroom. So anyway, I made this cute little PowerPoint to be overly informative for you guys. So Theme Weaver project, obviously. So like I said, I'm gonna zoom a little bit. Like I said, the theme is cooking slash food, and it's for fourth grade. And the big unit project is a classroom cookbook. And then it goes with this, the discipline unit for the unit is writing. And again, this is the standard for writing that I chose. And the whole classroom recipe in a cookbook. Each recipe page will include the ingredients needed, measurements for ingredients, tools needed, the how-to portion, where the food originates from, and why they chose this dish. So it's going to be like pretty jam-packed, but also I think it's basically what a normal cookbook has, but maybe like with a couple of added things that would involve more writing for our amazing unit. Oh, and also they would illustrate a photo of their dish as well, so they get some drawing and art in this as well. So this is I feel like is a really fun interdisciplinary unit because we have our writing, which I've already explained, so I won't again. And then we have our math, and so I figured math would fit into this perfectly because we have our measurements, and we can do like interactive fraction worksheets and like tools, and I have a thing with pizza later on that we'll do something with math with. Then there's art, and there's art with like 2 different things. Again, we're gonna have something with pizza. I just like pizza, and so students will create their own pizza that represents them as a person because it goes along with the story that we were reading, and so they'll like get to be really creative with the pizza, / they get to like illustrate and design their dish on their page. Then we have science as well, and with science we go into agricultural science and studying how foods are made by like farms and animals and stuff like that, but not like super gross and animal stuff. but just like mostly farms and plants food. Then we have geography, where students will learn where food comes from and studying the geographical locations of food and the culture behind them. That is so exciting, and I think that would be really fun. And I put reading, I know you said not to put reading, but this was at 6, so reading obviously because we have books and we'll be reading a lot. And these are the standards. I won't read them all to you because they're right here and you can read them yourself. And I got these standards from the first 2, art and math, were from DESE, and then science I got from, which is looks short, but that's like the highlight. That's what it said. It's from the like Science Common Core curriculum, if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. And then the geography standard is from the National Council Geography Education, something like that. It's a national the national geography standards. I looked it up and I was like, I didn't even know we had these. So fun fact, we have those. That's really cool. Here's my vocabulary words again. I'll skip past that. Okay, so here we go. Into the lesson. So our first lesson of this unit would be Introduction to Cooking and Food, which would be like probably 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not realizing I have a spelling mistake. I'm so sorry. So it's get students into the new theme with games and questions. Then we have introducing the cookbook project idea for them, and then give students a short writing prompt to get their minds flowing. So something like, what's your favorite home cooked meal and why? Like something like that, where they like write for 7 minutes or something like that, just to get their brains flowing with like food ideas. And like this whole time they're going to be thinking of dishes that they want to write about. So might as well start then. Then our second lesson would be ingredients and measurements, and I said that this would take 2 days and like probably 45 minutes each. I have some books that they would read, and they would write down the ingredients. So like we have Dad Bakes by Katie Yamasaki, and so when reading the book, they'd like write down the ingredients the Dad bakes with and stuff like that. So that also gets their mind, and like this is the ingredients, this is what we use to bake with it. Then I was gonna give them, I have 2 listed later, 2 cookbooks that I was gonna like bring in here to show them a real example of like what real cookbook pages look like, and have them work out some ingredient math with that. Then this is the fun book, read A Pizza with Everything on It by Kyle Sheely, and have students design their own crazy pizza. So that'd be the fun art thing, and they have to create their own ingredient math problems to go along with their pizza. So that gets them creating in multiple different ways. So lesson 3, food ingredients. So that would be 45 to 50 minutes. Students will read, so this is like the science part, this is agricultural science. So it's about the foods that are in the ingredients. So students will read Chicks and Salsa by Aaron Reynolds. And so in that book, they learn that the chicks can learn they can make salsa from the farm that they're on. So students will brainstorm other food that could be made on a farm. Then we will read Harlem Grow, How One Idea Transformed a Neighborhood by Tony Hillary. Students will, and from there I was like going to explain the whole like germination and plants and stuff like that. And so students will plant their own tomato seeds in the school garden, and like that's going to take longer than this unit. So like throughout wherever we'll tend to it, and maybe by however long it takes to grow a tomato, they'll get to take a tomato home and maybe make some salsa with it as well. Then students will after planting, if time allows, students will free write about foods that grow on a farm and like what they now realized what food theirs comes from a farm. Lesson 4, directions. So this will be 40 to 45 minutes. And the class will look through different cookbook pages again together to find common patterns and writing recipes on a page. So like I think one thing that big thing is like the how-to. And I think that might stump kids, where it's like, oh, first you do this, and then so it's practicing the how to write directions. Students will go on a scavenger hunt to find vocabulary words in the cookbook, because with the directions and how to, a lot of the vocabulary words would be used with that. So finding the vocabulary words in cookbooks and seeing how they're used, I feel like that'd be really fun for the kids and really useful. Students will practice writing directions in the cookbook. So in the little writing journal, they'll practice. They can like make up whatever meal they want to, and then. Oh, these are the 2 cookbooks I have listed. They'll be listed later on as well. Okay. So then lesson 5 is food and culture, and this will probably take 2 days to teach and 50 minutes each. Have students think about different cultures and the foods that they eat around those cultures. And I have a bunch of readings from this. So it's like, what's on your plate? Exploring the Foods of the World by Whitney Stewart. And then after we read that, it's like and that book is cool because it like kind of goes through different countries, and it tells you like the ingredients that are made from the country, and then like after you learn about that country and what food is made, it flips over, it tells you like a traditional dish from that country. I thought that was really cool, and I kind of want to buy that book now. And so then after you read that, you'd have the children either discuss or they'd write about their favorite exotic dish to eat from another culture. Then we have Auntie Yang's Great Soybean Picnic by Jeannie Lowe, and Dumpling Day by Mira Shiriam. Yes. And then after those 2 books, you talk about like what food do you make a lot with your family? What is something that what is a food that you guys kind of bond together with? So it's like just to get the discussion on how food brings people together. And then last we have Calamitous Kitchen by Sarah Thomas. And that book's cute. It's like Calamitous is the main character, and she is like magic and goes through different like kitchens and different cultures and stuff like that, and learns about food, and she learns that like trying new food isn't scary and stuff like that. So it's have you ever been scared to try new food? What happened when you did? Stuff like that. Right? It's like a lot of just writing prompts again to get their minds thinking of foods they can eventually write about, and just getting their minds in the food mindset. And then if time allows, I added this just if time allows, students will research one dish from a different culture and free write about the dish. Yes, just a lot of free writing to get their minds thinking. Then we have lesson 6, drafting the recipe. So this would take 3 to 4 days and 40 minutes each. And so just kind of like focusing on different parts of the recipes. So, and just like kind of first off figuring out your dish that you want to do, and then like, and which could be anything. It could be like main course, appetizer, dessert. It could even be a drink. It's a recipe. So, and just figuring out what dish you want to do for the book, and then after that, just have students kind of work on the individual parts with like scrap pieces of paper. They will also be given Chromebooks too, so they have like help with spelling, or like if they want to look up anything about their recipe. Because I know I probably would have needed help with some stuff with the recipe. They have the Chromebooks, and like I said this before, what they'll be writing, and let's just like say it out here again. And then the drafting process will take multiple attempts to finalize, because that's just how you do it. That's how writers do it. They do multiple drafts. Then finally, we have our lesson 7, which is the final copy, which is where it will take probably 35 minutes. When the students are ready, they will be given the official paper for their writing, and they will write everything down, and then they'll get their official paper for their illustration as well, and they'll get to draw it and color it, and it'll look really good. And then when they're done, I'll turn it into me. And then after the whole cookbook's done, I would have the students go and present to the class about their recipe, why they chose it, but basically everything they just wrote about. If they wanted to, they could show their illustration as well, be like, this is what I drew, I'm really proud of it, and this is why I did this food. So yeah, and they present on Google Slides, and it wouldn't be like super long of a presentation, but everyone would get to present their thing. And then, so here's my book list. With the picture books, again, just a lot of lists of picture books, and so teach chicks and salsa, what's on your plate, how did that get in my lunchbox? That's like an agricultural science book. I think I talked about the majority of these. Okay, the rest of them I talked about. I just didn't talk about the plate. And then then I have my book list for chapter books. So I figured this is 4th graders, and they don't like in their free time read picture books. So I got a list of chapter books that kind of go along with the idea of cooking and food and being in the kitchen and stuff like that. And I figured if we ever needed to get into like reading circles for like reading time, if anything, and they wanted chapter books, or if we were doing like, if they were just like free reading chapter books and wanted to stick with the theme, I'd have these in the classroom for them. And they're kind of cute. So we have A Place at the Table. Again, I won't read these because they're kind of long, but we have Place at the Table, Steph Soto, Taco Queen, Bliss, and there's a mix of like realistic fiction and fantasy. One of these is a comic book. Yeah, right here, comic book. So I think it hits like a bunch of different like people's interests. So yeah, we have Rita Vega, the Adventure Chef, along like cakes and a dash of dragon. So I think, and then I think that'd be fun just to give the kids options. And then we have my cookbook list, which is The Complete Baking Book for Young Chefs by America's Test Kitchen Kids, and The Big Fun Kids Cookbook by Food Network magazine. That's hard to say. I decided to do a baking cookbook and then like a cookbook just in case kids wanted to do dessert, that was an option. And yes, and then here is my newsletters all here. The end. I believe I hit everything. This was a really fun idea to come up with. So I'm glad I had the opportunity. I don't know if I probably said this at the beginning. I made the newsletter on InDesign, and it was really easy. You just gotta get a border, and then from there you just kind of draw the shapes and with the typing, and then I did the colors with the pencil tool, and then made them opaque. But then yeah, and my newsletters would go out to the family. I want to say I think realistically I would do it after the unit was done, just so like I could also add photos of like or examples of some students' work. And since I don't have real students, I didn't do that here. But realistically, I think I would do it afterwards. Like, this is what we've been doing in the classroom, and here's what you can see. Here's photo proof. It's all fun and cool. So yeah, I think that is all I have for this project. It was fun. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it like I did. All right, I need to now stop this video from playing.